Southwest Airlines is changing, and they are changing fast. Today, we're going to talk about the various implications of assigned seating, the various fares, and all the credit card changes. This is going to be fascinating, and I hope all of you are excited for this. Let's get started, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it's safe to say that Southwest Airlines is changing, and they are changing in a hurry. Today we got the reveal of what assigned seating is going to look like, also some fare changes and some credit card news as well. So this is going to be important, everybody, and it's just time to go ahead and dive into it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to walk through what it would look like to book a ticket now and the major changes that come with that. And man, they are major. So today we're just going to use a typical example and then we'll kind of bounce off of it. We're going to start with an example from Tulsa, Dallas Love Field, a shorter segment that Southwest Airlines operates. This is baseline pricing and so forth is the reason that we're going to start with this example. So assigned seating and some various changes will begin on January 27th. So in this case, we're just going to accelerate it and we're going to say that we want to go on a weekend trip to Dallas on Friday, February 13th, ironically. So let's go ahead and take a look at kind of what this would look like. So I do have to say, it doesn't seem like the Southwest UI has been refreshed a little bit. It seems a little bit quicker, so I do give Southwest credit there, but not too much more than that. So here we go. The booking page looks relatively similar, although we do finally have some new names for the fares, which is huge, and we're really excited to see that. We have Basic and Choice, along with Choice Preferred and Choice Extra. So this replaces the Wanna Getaways and Anytime and Business Select, which I think that Choice is a fine name. It certainly is much cleaner than the Wanna Getaway Plus by itself. So I think this is a good start, and I like the decision here in that regard. So here we go. Basic, which is what Wanna Getaway was, is now sitting here at $125. This is pretty standard, and you can see the various options. Well, before we get into seats or any of that, we really need to decide what fare we want. So I think it's important now to take a look at the fare benefit page. Now, first and foremost, this is just a big tally page. But anyway, the big picture that we really want to focus on here is the seating and boarding, because I think this is going to be a really big decision maker when Southwest Airlines passengers are deciding on what kind of ticket they want to book. So starting here with the seats, let's start with that. The seat type included. So on Basic, you get a standard and it's assigned to check-in, normal for Basic Economy on most carriers. On Choice, you get a standard seat, which is pretty much behind the wing, makes sense, and you can select that at booking. On Choice Preferred, you get row 6 and behind, which is pretty solid, and then Choice Extra, you get extra legroom, which is any seat. Once we talk about the prices, you'll understand why this is not, it's just what it is, but it certainly is, from a glance, it looks fine. Now, extra legroom, you have to have Choice Extra, preferred seat, Choice Preferred, all this makes sense. It's pretty self-explanatory from here. We obviously are going to be introducing 9 boarding groups at Southwest Airlines, which not a big fan of that. I think that that's really going to struggle in their operation boarding these big aircraft with 9 groups. But anyway, you get early groups 1 through 2 on Choice Extra, 3 through 5 on Choice Preferred. Choice gets General, which is going to be probably 5 through 8, and then the last will be 9 for Basic. Makes sense. It's pretty much the structure of any other carrier. Problem is, those are legacy carriers. But anyway, let's continue. We've already talked extensively about the checked bags. I do still think it's a joke that Choice Preferred does not get a free checked bag. I think it's pathetic and certainly embarrassing. Also, the Rapid Rewards points earnings went down substantially here. So as you can see on a basic fare, you only get 2x points, which for this ticket would be 250 points, which is not very much at all. Completely pathetic and certainly an insult to injury for Southwest Airlines passengers and frequent flyers. Very sad and certainly going to be tough to get any sort of points now. It doesn't really matter very much. But obviously, if you're getting the higher fares, that's a big benefit of such, as you're getting up to 14x points, which is really good. Now, talking about the no cancellation fees, I do give Southwest credit here for keeping the flight credit here for the basic ticket. I think this is a huge advantage and the very least that they could do, considering what the airline's supposed to be structured. So that's certainly a huge takeaway, and I do very much appreciate Southwest. If they would have got rid of that, I probably wouldn't be flying them as much as I would be this fall, but thanks to that, I am able to have quite a few reservations. Continuing here, placeholder reservations, I should say, depending on what happens for me this fall. But anyway, getting back to the relevant part, it's certainly important for people to be able to have flexibility, and I appreciate Southwest keeping that. I do think flight credits expiring at a year, it's all right. I mean, I don't have too big of a problem with that, and I think the refundability on the top 2 tiers really makes sense. I also like that obviously you can have the free days change there with the choice fare. I think that really makes sense. I think choice is going to be justified. It's really an economy seat, and I think there are some benefits to it. So that's certainly huge. But I think the biggest takeaway, choice preferred not having a checked bag is pathetic. I think that is extremely embarrassing. And the points obviously on basic. And then the choice at 6 is decent. So there really is some benefit to paying the $20 extra here on choice here for Southwest Airlines. Not only are you getting the seat selection there, but you're also getting the additional points, and you're getting the changeability and so forth at the, on free day standby. So we're just going to say we want to take the 6:45 flight, right? Well, when we pop over here, you can see first off, the prices are unbelievable here, but really look at the points. So it's funny because a normal day, this ticket very well could go down to $39. Well, if you got a choice extra ticket, you're essentially paying for the $39 fare, which I think is kind of funny. I'll show you some examples later, but obviously 200 points is none, but choice, it is a huge, substantial upgrade. So I think they are going to get some people to buy it on choice just for that, which is very important. Let's take a look at these seat selections though, and man, they are borderline pathetic. So on an hour flight block time, it's a 40-minute air flight period. If you want an extra legroom seat, which is not first class, not any, crazy additional fares, you're going to pay almost $50, which I think is pretty steep for an extra legroom seat. This isn't Allegiant, right, where you're flying to Minot, North Dakota and Des Moines, Iowa, where you're going to have the opportunity to capture these passengers that don't fly very often, right? Southwest, people are usually traveling pretty often if you're flying Southwest. With that being said, I don't think that this model is sustainable on this short of a flight, and you also have to select them individually with other carriers, right? So that makes sense. Main cabin extra seat on American Airlines, which is the equivalent seat here, you can get some as low as $15 sometimes, but certainly not over $30. So to come in at nearly $50 for an extra legroom seat, I think is pathetic. Furthermore, for a preferred seat, not even an extra legroom, just one that's in a better position, you're going to pay $30 for that. I think that is truly an insult to injury. So why would you even want to pick the choice preferred fare when all you're getting is a few extra points essentially, because you're not going to get the checked bag, or you don't get checked bag, and you also, all you're going to get here is a normal seat. So why not just pay for the choice extra? And I think it really is incentive based, and that's really sad considering that Southwest used to be this company that really was about being different from the other legacy carriers and making such a difference. But obviously this has turned into a dumpster fire. This is on basic fare. So these are the seats that you can select as in a choice on the choice fare. So any of these would be complimentary seating all the way back to row 30. But on the basic fare, these are $20. So if you want a seat selection or really any flexibility, there is no reason to be getting a basic fare. Basic fares are simply just lowest price possible is the objective of that. And I believe you still do get to carry on with the basic fare, which is once again another big part. But the only carrier not to do that's the size of Southwest really is United. So I think they had to keep the carry on there at the very least. But taking a look here at the details, this is where you'd get randomly assigned, the details would obviously put into that. So it gets better though. You thought this was steep. Let's talk about another hour. So if we add one more hour onto this is a 2:45 block, but the flight comes in about 2 hours, but whatever you want to call it, you're going to be paying nearly $70 for an extra legroom seat on a flight from Tulsa to Phoenix. So if you want to have any extra legroom period on Southwest flying from Tulsa to Seattle via Phoenix, for example, you're going to pay almost almost $150 extra just to accomplish that goal. On American Airlines, you're only going to be paying $60 for that. And American Airlines main cabin extra is truly a phenomenal value compared to its competition and its peers, because you can fly Tulsa to Dallas and get it for 20 or whatever, 30 tops, and then Dallas to Seattle, it might be $50, but it's certainly going to be about half the price. United Airlines Economy Plus is overpriced, but people are willing to pay it. And Delta Comfort, it really depends on the segment, but it can be fair at times. You can see 2-hour flights are about $30. And these are for extra legroom, better padded seats. Southwest here, the preferred seating, I'm surprised this isn't higher, but as you can see, this is a 737-700, so that's why the format's a little bit different. So the standard seating, you can all select back there. This is another complete flop here on Southwest's part. So I believe if you're on the, you don't have its own section like the 800 and the Max 8, which the 700 is still a big part of the fleet, a section that you can reserve. So even if you wanted to buy a basic seat in advance on a basic fare, you can't do it. I don't understand why 16 through 20 is not a selectable seat for a basic fare. So you literally, webcam just zoomed in crazy. I didn't realize that. Well, I hope all of you are enjoying that. But anyway, the basic part of this is just unbelievable. I can't believe that it literally doesn't have a section that you can select a seat. Even American Airlines, you're just missing revenue opportunity, Southwest. Like, if you want to make money so bad, why would you not have a section here that passengers could select on the basic fare? I know the 700 will be phased out, but that's not anytime soon. So complete miss of revenue opportunity here, and I just do not understand what the logic is at all. So I apologize about that webcam. I'm gonna get that fixed real quick for you all here. That was fun, everybody, but nevertheless, complete miss of revenue opportunity. Why would this not be 16 through 20 you can select? I do not understand. But it gets even better. So a long flight, and this is more understandable, 5 hours from Los Angeles to Orlando. This actually makes a little bit of sense. Almost $100 for a red-eye flight. Yes, I can understand marking this up quite a bit. And honestly, these preferred seats, these are pretty good value here, $50. But why on these shorter segments Southwest is putting that much money on the ticket? I just don't understand. The other part about this I think Southwest is failing to recognize is that our load factors lately have been pathetic. Over the last year, Southwest Airlines has dropped off 5% of their load factor. So these seats are going to go empty anyway. So why would you charge this much if you're really trying to make any money at all? I mean, Tulsa to Dallas, unfortunately, is a low performing segment because of the lack of optimization at Dallas for connections. As a result of that, you're literally seeing planes going, I flew several times when planes only had 50 or 60 people on it. So they're missing opportunity here. We go into a really long assessment on this, and we kind of already have, but I think that they certainly are missing opportunities here, and I really do not understand the logic from Southwest. This is certainly a huge missed opportunity. And once again, if we look at these fares, I just don't understand. The other big gripe that I have with Choice Extra, most of it's fairly reasonable. First off, the price is too high. But number two, why would you not get Group 1 guaranteed? Why not? I mean, if you're going to pay that much money, I really don't understand why you wouldn't get Group 1 guaranteed. I think it's pretty sad that you can't guarantee that, and that you're still going to charge every single fare for priority boarding. I was leaving this intentionally for this moment. Priority boarding, everybody still has to pay for priority boarding. Why would priority not be included in Choice Extra for $255 on an hour flight? Let's go ahead and look at some other examples. Now we're going to go from Tulsa to Phoenix, since that was the first example that we used. We're going to be clocking in at almost $300. I guarantee it, if not more than that. We're clocking in at almost $400 for this ticket right here. I really do not understand what the point of this is. So just look at the amount of variation that you have here. Could Choice Extra be a good value depending on what you want as a traveler? 100%. But the fact that you can even guarantee board Group 1, the fact that you're going to pay this much money for a one-way ticket, I mean, that's just incredible. But it gets even better. Let's go ahead and do that Tulsa to Seattle segment. It might be the same. I don't know. Phoenix is a pretty hot destination during that time of year. But yeah, once again, you're still going to pay almost $400 for this ticket right here. But this ticket right here is $400. And see, the lack of optimization could drive me nuts. We could talk about that all day in the winter time to have this long of layovers. But anyway, let me get the duration here. So if we're going to go through Denver, we're still going to pay almost $400 and get in at midnight. Just a lack of optimization. But the crazy part is, everyone, that it does not end there. Southwest Airlines currently has this credit card promotion. Let's talk about the credit card benefits now. So this 100,000 points is really good. This is honestly a really good offer, especially if you just want to collect segments. So here are the benefits that they're going to give out to passengers here on the new system here that they have. So you get the first free checked bag, which one would hope for. That's an industry standard for an airline credit card pretty much. So that was to be desired. And as you can see here, you do get 8 additional passengers. That part's pretty generous. So this is honestly really good. You like to see that. Complimentary seating. So you get to select a standard seat within 48 hours before departure when available on a basic fare. I think that this is a fairly reasonable expectation. I honestly think that you should be able to select it regardless if you have the card, but it's at least decent. At least you are able to find that, and they do have the seat definition there, which obviously is going to be located in the back half of the cabin. But I also, why not just let people select it beforehand? And especially with your load factors anyway, it doesn't matter on some flights that are early in the day or late at night, especially in the winter. 10% discount. This has been handed out for a long time. This is not new. I don't know why this is here, but that's just embarrassing. You get 10,000 companion pass qualifying points, which is pretty tough to get there anyway. You do get to board with Group 5. I think that's kind of nice. So you have an opportunity to get settled in before the flight leaves. And no foreign transaction fees. I want to say this was already there, but I don't want to misspeak. So there we go on that. And you do get 25% back. So that part's good. But then we get to the bottom here on how you get these points. And man, this is pathetic. So first and foremost, there's going to be changes to this. Earning more benefits through 2025. This asterisk is very important because it goes on to say, and I'll show you here in a moment, This is all going down the 1x, so you get 2x for hotel and rental car partners, 2x for local transit commuting, and 2x for internet, cable, phone, and all of that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Southwest is just tricking up your sleeve here, and on all this too, because I got this email the other day, and I do have the Southwest Airlines card, so it pretty much talks about all the benefits that we just talked about, which there's some good ones here. You do get the 2x on gas stations and groceries on the first $5,000 that you spend, so that part's nice. But look at this. Southwest Airlines cruises from 2x to 1x. Southwest Airlines Rapid Reward hotel and car rentals starting on January 1st from 2x to 1x. Internet, cable, phone services from 2x to 1x. Local transit and commuting 2x to 1x. And no more 2 free early bird check-ins. So they don't even give you 2 preferred seats or 2 extra legroom seats. Just doesn't exist anymore. On top of all that, your annual is going from $70 to $100. So you're paying an additional $30, and I would say not getting very much out of it. The checked bag is nice. That should honestly, though, considering what Southwest was, it should have been a full transition, a loyalty transition to be able to keep that bag without an increase in annual fee. So on top of that, not only do you lose that, you also lose what would be the equivalent of the 4 flight, or really how many seconds worth, because you could do 2 early check-ins, and let's just say that you have a connecting flight, right? So you lose 4 flights worth of extra legroom seats essentially, and you also lose out on the ability to have I think you should be able to select your seat right there on a basic fare. I think that that's ridiculous as a card holder that you don't get to do that. I know that some airlines are different, but if you want to keep that loyalty at Southwest, that difference, I mean, this is sad. Like, the best part about this whole deal, in my opinion, is that the basic fare has a voucher. That's 100% the best part. Otherwise, there's a bunch of flaws. I think it's really sad that you're only giving 2x on, I mean, it's just incentive based. The choice fare I think is decent, but I think it really is lacking in quite a few regards. So, I mean, it is great that you get to select the standard seat, and the 6x is pretty good. So there is some really good benefits to the choice. I think choice preferred's a scam. I mean, what are you paying for? A little bit better boarding in the preferred seat, but I mean, I'm not going to pay the difference of, I mean, that's a big difference not to get a checked bag out of the deal. So I just think that Southwest is a pretty, loyal frequent flyer base to, pretty much get people out of luck this bad. But especially these seat prices, I don't understand the logic. They are not going to sell on a good portion of these flights. The average load factor for Southwest in April of 2025, I don't want to misspeak, but I want to say it was in the 70s. I want to say it was like 72% or so, 74%. I think it was 74%. That sounds right. Down from 79 the year prior. And the trajectory is going to continue. United continues to steal their passengers. United continues to operate more mainline jets to stations various stations that Southwest is flying a bunch of segments into. Tulsa's a very good example. Delta Airlines continues to amp up their capacity. American Airlines adding regional jet frequency to many Southwest stations. I think that they got problems. I think that they are really going to suffer. They are really going to struggle with the current formatting that they have, and every example that I gave you in this video really points to that. Also, hiding up on the credit card application through 2025 and these benefits right here, just sad that they're getting rid of that and increasing the annual fee on top of that. Man, the Elliott investment firm may make some money, but I think they're also going to feel an impact. And I also saw an article that their initial summer numbers are down as a result from the checked bag change. I believe that they did suffer pretty big on that. And I saw that they had an initial dip in bookings, which was to be expected. We kind of called that in the videos that we made earlier this year. So let me know what you think about Southwest in the comments below. We're definitely going to be here to talk about them more, but I need to get this off my chest just considering the implications and so forth. It's pretty unfortunate to see what Southwest is doing. I think they're really running themselves into the ground. I think there is some good, but considering what Southwest was and now is, definitely a big downgrade. I think the amount of advantages that Southwest has slowly but surely dwindled, and there's really not much besides convenience. And like if you're like me, which is a pretty unique situation, but want to have all these placeholder tickets and be able to travel on all these connecting flights and so forth, the point redemptions on basic are pretty good. But then when you get to the limitations, it's a limitation. So feel free to let me know what you all think about Southwest below. I think that we're definitely going to see some changes coming up, and I think even more is on the way. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do next, but hopefully this restructure will be about the end of it, but I think we're going to see more. So let me know what you all think in the comments below. But nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe, trust the process. Do you love and love you do, and see you Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.